What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. My name is Jonathan Beardsley.
And I am Brandon May.
We hope you're all doing well this week. Somebody who we know is definitely doing well is ASAP Rocky, who was cleared of all charges yesterday and proceeded to jump over the bench thing to hug Rihanna like he was in a mosh pit, which fucking loved that. But kind of big news, man. I don't think anybody was confident this was going one way or the other. So it's good that it panned out this way, selfishly, because we now have the new album announcement of March 7th for Don't Be Dumb. What's kind of
That's
your
right.
take on the whole ASAP Rocky situation?
My take was that I didn't follow it very closely because I stopped following it as soon as ASAP said that he carried a gun that shot blanks, and there was no physical evidence of that dude getting shot, even though he said
Sure.
it.
Yep.
And I was like, well, he's got it in the bag. Let's
Done.
let the justice system hang out. He's a celebrity. He'll get off.
They
But
always
yeah,
do.
my thoughts on him announcing the album and having it released so soon means that you know that this motherfucker's been done for like a year at least, and
Oh,
he's just
yeah.
been waiting for this court date so he could be like, "Hey, I'm dropping. Let's go." You know?
Yeah. March 7th is really soon, too. Less than a month away, which I think lends to your theory that this is done. I think the only way we might get that signal a little mixed up is if we see the track list and it doesn't include anything that we've heard so far, which we know he's very against a leak, so he could try and fight it, but like it would kind of suck if Taylor Swift's not on the album at this point. I'm excited for
Right.
that one, man. Another new album I'm gonna be very excited for when it drops is the new Clips album, which is not confirmed yet, but I sent you a snippet as soon as it came out. It is all but
Yep.
confirmed. Pusha T is back. Pharrell's doing some production on this. This is going to be one of the hardest rap albums of the year, from what I've heard. We obviously can't play it here, but I text you immediately. What was your reaction when you heard just Push go an acapella to start it?
Yeah, big fan of that. It's desperately needed. It's funny. I've got a homie at work who, he's like, everybody listens to like the top whatever, but like
Hmm.
this guy, I can actually talk to him about rap music. Like he listened to the new Larry June. He was bumping some fucking
Good
Conway
stuff.
earlier. Like he's into the rap, and so I was like, hey, dude, new Clips album. He was like, produced by who? Though, like that was his first question. I was like, I'm pretty sure Pharrell's on at least one of them, and he was like, not Kanye, and I was
Yeah.
like, I think that's a bad
No.
look for Bush right now, bro.
No, I think more importantly as to who's producing it, No Malice is doing vocals again. This is not just Pusha T. We all love Pusha T and he always delivers. We know he will. It's the malice of it all that we're very interested in, and I can't wait. The rumored
See,
title is Let God Sort Him Out, which is kind of perfect. And my favorite tweet regarding this so far, yes, I still call them tweets, is three snowstorms in Virginia during Black History Month. This got to be a Clips rollout. In fact, it is, man. In fact, it
hey
is.
man, everybody should dead name Twitter in the comments.
Please, please. Other than that, we've had a few like festival announcements and album announcements that I think will organically end up bringing up throughout the show this week or next week. So let's just get into it this week, man.
Let's do
Starting
it.
off, this new one from Chris Lake and Abel Balder called Ease My Mind. Not the most exciting Chris Lake track, but I thought it was a nice way to start the playlist off this week. It's got a nice groove to it, very smooth vocals. I like this one. What about you?
Bouncy and bassy, just like I like my Chris Lake.
Yes, sir. New one from Alok and Kylie Minogue. Last night I dreamt I fell in love. Thought this one was good, but I have not been enjoying it as much as I thought I would when I saw there was a new song by Alok and Kylie Minogue
Thank
out.
you.
What about you? You
Thank
feel the
you.
same?
It kind of, man. The lead synth line is obviously great. Kylie has sounded better.
Yeah.
Alok has done more interesting productions. This feels like a pop song wrapped up in a house track, and that is, the way
And
that it
and
is.
and we're not saying Kylie has done better as in like, oh, back in Can't Get Me Out of My Head. No, her last album was
Yeah, like
great. Even
last
the
year.
deluxe was good. I think she's stretching herself a little too thin. She is still very capable of being just as good as she ever was, but she's maybe being a little too active and needs to kind of take it just a few months off, recalibrate. Go to a
Drink
few
some lemon
parties.
tea and some honey,
Yes,
like
yes. Like the nonstop production and creation of music is admirable, but you need to take some time for the inspiration behind it. Get back to the clubs, Kylie, please.
unless your currency in LE dollar, please keep releasing 18 albums a year.
Bro, they can't hear us. They're making a new album right now.
They're in the
Um,
studio.
in the studio right now. All right, we got a new one from Sammy Vergie called I Guess We're Not the Same. This song is sick. I really like it. More of this, please. Have no idea who this is or where this came from, though. Do you know anything about this?
Yes, so I added this to the playlist. I have been obviously trolling around the Coachella subreddit as one
Sure.
does when you're me, and I've been doing that since they had forums on the Coachella website, just for everybody's information. But
Don't
Sammy
age
Vergie
yourself.
is on the Coach. I would never. Sammy Vergie is on the Coachella lineup. People are asking, everybody's asked like, who are you most excited for? On the undercard. I'm not familiar with it. And the top comment every single time is Sammy Vergie. And I, being an electronic music fan, was like, I don't even fucking know this guy. Why is everybody so excited about him? Turns out I really like this. We've never talked about Sammy. People are very excited for it. I'm going to dive deeper into his discography before I make any really further judgments. But this track is pretty enjoyable. It's a really bouncy, fun time. And I can see just based on this track why everybody's so excited to see him.
Oh yeah, this one's gonna be great for that type of festival. Must play
Oh
for
yeah.
him for sure. New one from Grabbits and Rez, Love You Till I'm Dead. Probably my least favorite collaboration between the two of them, but still very decent. What did you think about this one?
Doesn't sound like either of them, John. This sounds like if Bob Moses tried to do a future bass song.
Mm. I like your take on it way more than I like mine. That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it feels just muted. It kind of feels muted for both of them, which I didn't enjoy.
It
Weird,
doesn't sound
weird
like
track.
either of them. It threw me off. Every time I listened to it, I was like, but did Bob Moses release it? Because the vocals are very reminiscent of Dude from Bob Moses. And I was like, wow, this is odd for them.
Hey, Grok AI, make me a dubstep song that sounds like Rez and Grabbits produced by Bob Moses. This is what we got. Um, all right, man. We got this new one from Mimo Rex, Paloma, and Sand called Brilla. I don't know any of these artists, but I like the song. Love the percussion on this one, man. What are your thoughts on it?
You know sand because every time we cover sand, you go, "Wow, this production or this percussion,"
I mean, that
because
tracks from my
that
memory.
right, yeah, super chill. Those drums and percussion are just incredible, and I previewed it. It came up on my releases because of sand, but this just it just drew me right in, kept me engaged every single time it came on. Volume
Ah,
up, let's go.
I think I'm more used to Sand with the circular Tierra Sounds covers. That's probably why I
Yep.
didn't recognize it right off the bat. But
No,
yeah,
no, no. Yep. Because this is a collab, and I don't think it was released on that one. But yeah, for sure.
exactly. It's kind of crazy in the electronic world how you get to know an artist based on like the production logo that's on a majority of their releases.
Oh, you mean
Uh,
the Blue Flame UKF logo?
bro, come on. Morgan Page remix. Let's go. All right, man. We got this Rodriguez Jr. remix of Heaven Sent by Rodriguez Jr., John Digweed, and Nick Muir. A great track in the original form, maybe even better with this remix. I just love when Rodriguez Jr. goes God mode like this. This is like A plus stuff. What'd you think about it?
Well, number one, it's my song of the week. Number
Yes.
two, okay, I didn't know that this was happening. I think I had sent you a while ago like a screenshot of a Bandcamp notification that Nick Muir and John Didweed were planning on releasing a record on
Hmm.
Bedrock Records, and this was like months ago, right? And I obviously forgot about it because of the way that my life is, but Heaven Sent originally released in 1999. There's a couple of other remixes on the EP, but I had to throw my boy Rodriguez Jr. on here. This was released in 99. It's been played in many, 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 many deep house parties since, probably every deep house party since 2000 and on. And Yeah, man. Rodriguez Jr. just kind of reimagines it in a way that I still keeps like the integrity of the original track
Yeah.
while adding all those modern layers. It actually made me go back to one of my favorite electronic music sets of all time, the Circle set in France of Rodriguez Jr. and Lizette Alia,
Yup.
because of how, like you said, Rodriguez Jr. just goes fucking God mode, and
Yup.
the guy can fucking produce music, man. And cheers to him.
God, counting the days until we get a new Rodriguez Jr. Lizette track, man. Please, God, we need a new one. I know we just got like a few on the last album, but we need another one.
It's literally never enough.
No, never. Like I'm honestly like sad when it's not Lizette on the song with him, but he's
No.
always fantastic.
Yes, sir.
All right, new one from Dr. P and Flux Pavilion, Fluffy Cowboy is the name of this one. There are sounds in this song that just feel wrong to hear outside the 2010s, but if anyone can pull it off, it's Dr. P and Flux Pavilion, and by God, they did it, man. This is up there with that whole track that Fortet cannot stop playing at country rhythm. This is one of those ones. A lot of fun, gonna go nuts at festivals. What'd you think about it?
Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but we're getting a full album from both Dr. P and Flux
I did
Pavilion.
not, no.
Well, congrats to you for learning this for now, right now, because yeah, I'm very excited for it. I saw Flux Pavilion in like 2010, and then I also saw him in like 2013, going back to back with Excision before Excision was who he is today.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, this was it felt nostalgic. It literally
It
took me
does, yeah.
back in time, bro. Like it took me back in time to being on festival fields and being like, wow. And yeah, man, I really enjoy. I actually couldn't stop listening to this one this week.
And let's take just a quick diversion before we move out of dance music. Excision's Thunderdome happened about a week ago. The combination of seeing the videos from that and hearing shit like this on the playlist, you're bringing the old me back, Brandon, and that's a dangerous thing, man. I'm gonna be 2 hours deep in a Rusco tent somewhere in Portland this time next week if we don't watch ourselves here. But man, this I'm
So
glad this music's coming back.
so I believe it was a Rusco and Caspa back to back mix that they did. It was the very first
Fabric 45?
dubstep anything I've ever heard. Maybe you know it. I've asked everybody
Yeah.
but you, apparently. I don't it has one of this it has like a sample and it says, I want to take a shower, a proper shower. And I can't find the mix. And it was the first dubstep anything I ever heard, and it blew my
Mm.
fucking mind. I think it was 2009 when
I
I
mean,
heard this.
their fabric mix is their most popular one, but I feel like if it was in that, you would
It's not
probably
the
have
fabric
found
mix.
that
I've
all
looked at
right.
it.
Yeah, yeah. But they did. I feel like back then you used to be able to find a lot of mixes between them. Not so much the case anymore. So we'll have to investigate that one a little deeper.
Yep.
All right, man. Let's transition out of rap into some other, or out of dance into some other genres, starting with rap. We got a new one from Mick Jenkins, Wars and Rumors of Wars, the freestyle. I could tell from the Type Beat EP he dropped online a few weeks ago that he's coming for blood this year, dude. He's always had the talent to be a top tier rapper, and I think he's going to be releasing music this year that's really going to make him it's going to make people have difficulty denying him of the spot he kind of rightfully deserves at this point. I love this. What about you?
Mick Jenkins is a top tier rapper. He's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper right now. And
Mhm.
this dude's flow is just fucking wild. His vocabulary is tremendous, is just tremendous, and his beat selection is so good. But we didn't really talk about it on the podcast, so I just kind of wanted to highlight the Type Beat EP that he had put out,
Mhm.
where he just went on YouTube and searched Mick Jenkins Type Beat and then rapped over some type beats. And
Did not
how
half-ass it either.
no, dude crushed it. And
It's a pay what you want, by the way, if any of our listeners want to check it out.
yeah, well, I'll leave a link to that in the show notes. Everybody go give this dude like $20 because I honestly like the guy can fucking do it, man. And yeah, he's probably one of, if not my favorite rapper in the 2020s.
Dude, he's just so honest too. I saw this interview clip of him. I don't know when it came out. It surfaced online, at least when I saw it, like a month or two ago. And it's an interview he was doing for the rollout of his last album. And they're like, "How did you get Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher to both be on the same album after everything?" And he pretty much said, "I think the Benny verse hadn't come back." And so he had Freddie do a different song. After that, the Benny verse came back, or vice versa. And like I expected the story to end there, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think Benny really brought his best on that one." He's like, "I've done verses like that where you're just doing it to get the check." And he gave me a B verse. Like this type of honesty is not common, especially when you're paying for this shit and releasing it. Like the dude is a breath of fresh air who is not afraid to say the truth, and I will always stand him just for that alone, man.
You
The
know,
dude's the best.
one other rapper that has always told the truth is 50 Cent. So
Sorry,
but
Joe.
but he says it in a way that is very confrontational. So but no, I man, I really think Mick Jenkins has the potentiality to just fucking come out and
Yes.
destroy the rap industry. I think that he deserves way more recognition.
How dare you bring up 50? God damn it.
Why you
Oh
say
man.
fuck me for?
God damn. He is rap Scarface. I know there's a rapper named Scarface, very famous, but he is the one, the quote, you point to me and you need somebody to call the bad guy. That's 50. He wears that badge with honor.
Okay,
Um,
but you mentioned Scarface, and I know we're moving on, but I need to say Scarface has some of the better early 2000s gangster rap and
oh my
90s gangster
God,
rap.
yes.
And
Yes.
and his album covers are just the fucking worst things you've ever seen in your entire life. They are just
Noted.
god
Yeah.
awful. They're terrible, and I find it absolutely hilarious that some of the hardest bars you could hear in the 90s and 2000s was from this corny ass dude in a gigantic pinstripe suit. Uh man.
Pre-Photoshop, you had to be an artist to really get some good cover art, man. That was MS Paint back then making those fucking
Oh
things,
my
dude.
God. This guy downloaded free MS Paint, forgot that MS Paint was free.
Just use the raw scissor tool. Shit. Love it though. All right, dude, we got my song of the week. It's AJ Tracy and
I
Georgia
knew it.
Smith's new one. Like I saw this collab get announced and I knew it was gonna be good. I did not know it would be Georgia Smith drill rapping over chopped up soul vocals with
Let's
AJ
go.
rapping about anime and shit. No, this is fucking great, man. We needed this, and I am so happy. I take it you enjoyed it as well.
Oh, they both fucking crushed it, bro.
Yeah, her I love how she was just like, obviously I'm gonna sing a hook, but I got to do a little more, and she definitely did. I love it. New one from Money Long, Slow Grind. What is even left to say about just like the talent level of Money Long at this point? She has a very strong case at being like the best pure R&B artist out right now. She doesn't miss, didn't start now. This is another gem for her, easy. What do you think about it?
I still can't connect with Money Long's music. I don't know what it is. This is objectively great. I just can't connect to it.
I think this song in particular, or like Hours and Hours, and kind of the ones that she's making like a big name for herself, are the more ballady ones, which isn't necessarily to say like it's not your thing, because you like that as well. But like the name of this song implies the way it feels. It is a slow grind of an R&B song that can kind of wear you down if you're not really feeling it. So I totally get where you're coming from. But the
Yep.
moment's gonna happen, man. Trust me.
Oh, it'll happen. That I know.
We got a new one from Haley Knox called Truce. Another trademark Haley Knox R&B banger. Was not expecting her to put out new music so soon after that last EP, but I'm happy with this track, dude. Really, really good. What'd you think about it?
Her voice is so beautiful, bro.
Yeah, she crushes it every time. Self-produced, man. Love her music.
Yep.
New one from Ralph Castelli and Gallant called 12 Feet Deep. I was actually on Twitch in Gallant's chat room talking to him when this song dropped. And I was like, dude, a song of yours just dropped online. And he was like, oh, I didn't know that was dropping tonight. So he kind of talked a little bit about it. He's really good friends with this artist. They wrote this in Alaska, where I think Ralph is from. It's, if you listen to the lyrics, it's about kind of dying in an avalanche. Lyrically, very depressing, but it's a beautifully written and performed song. My wife says it sounds like an Elliott Smith song. I'm inclined to agree there. I never really thought Gallant would be making songs like this, but I am blown away by the end result, man. Ralph's voice is great too. I hit follow. Thought it was just a great collab all around. What about you?
Man, the indie Elliott Smith vibe to it, I didn't connect with, or I didn't
Fair.
connect quite as fast as your wife did. But yeah, this is great, dude. Gallant really holds back on this one a little bit, but the harmonies and, like you said, the haunting lyrics performed as beautifully as everything was. I really liked this track.
Great power comes great responsibility. Him being able to hit the notes he can, man, you can't just do it all the time. I think he did a great job being nuanced on this song, but I agree. It's not like a Gallant show stealer, but I think it's a great song.
Oh yeah.
All right, man, we got a new one from Lucy Dacus. Best guess. I'm loving this rollout so far, man. Her voice, her lyrics, her music, all working for me. Another great music video as well for this one. What'd you think about it?
Absolutely fucking loved it. I am like over the moon excited for this album now. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I wish it was coming a little sooner, but it will be out pretty soon. New one from Mark Pritchard and Tom York. I think this is their second or third collaboration. This one's called Back in the Game. Cursed art, weird horns, grating synths. Sign me the fuck up. Dying to know if you liked this at all, though.
I loved this, John.
No way.
I
No
loved it.
way.
I did, man.
No
You know
way.
why? Because it reminds me of Interpol, if Interpol had
Interesting.
synths.
Interesting. I love that now.
It's got that kind of like rolling kind of indie sleaze bass line to it, but
Yeah,
done with synths. Like,
sure.
okay, let's get Paul Banks over some Moog synths. You know what I mean?
Please, please. That would be fucking great. This is the closest we're gonna get. I'm glad you like this one too, man. I was expecting
I
you to
really
hate it.
did. No, I really did. I
Good,
really
man.
did, man.
Video for it's very fucking weird, as you can imagine from the artwork.
I mean, yeah.
Good song though. Let's talk about this new one from the Color Society, Only Tonight. Weird song, but I like it. I will always argue we need more cartoon sound effects to start off every song. What'd you think
Thank you.
about this one?
Thank you. Following in oh no, that's an outro. As Blood Runs Black has some cartoon outros.
Goddamn right they
Look,
do.
man, I don't really know how I found this band, but I really dig the sound. I think they're under 1,000 monthly listeners right now. We've got to bump those numbers up. I really
Yes.
dig this like super breezy indie sound, and they seem to be doing it really well, man. I saw this pop up on my releases and I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, dude, I agree. Really, really well done. Just it was weird at first, but I was like, this is pretty sick. Grew on me really fast.
Right.
New one from Spelling, about goddamn time. This one's called Alibi. She is an emphatic 2 for 2 on this rollout for me. Just top tier shit. Her new album is easily one of my most anticipated right now. What did you think about this one? Did you like this as much as Portrait of My Heart?
This is so mid 90s, bro.
Yes, it is. That's why I love it so fucking
So
much.
mid 90s.
This is gonna be one of the most. We need like the equivalent of whatever our MySpace song of the week is for the 90s. This is our Wonderwall of the week. No, this is great. I love this, man. Glad you like it too.
Yeah, I really did. The fuzzy synth lines are so good, dude.
Yes, yeah. The fuzz of it all just really adds to the aesthetic and texture of her music in a way that I find enjoyable. Next time you listen to her, and I might have brought this up last time, she sings every line like she's Claudio from Coheed, and I can't unhear it. Like, please listen to this when we're done recording and imagine it's Claudio singing it and tell me you can't picture it perfectly. Dying for
Oh
Logan's
my
input on
God.
this too. But please, please. I'm telling you, I heard it once and I was like, I can't ever unhear this. This is just Coheed to me.
I love that. I love that so much.
Please, listeners, chime in wherever you follow us and let us know if you're hearing it too. Spelling fucking you rock. I'm sad your tour is not coming to the PNW. Please, next time. All right, we got a new one from Scal. This one's called Babe. This is another album like equal tier to the Spelling one and my most anticipated. I fucking love this song. Very like mannequin pussy adjacent sound on all of the singles they've released in this rollout, which is to say I love it, man. What about you? You loving this too?
Inject it into my veins, John.
Please, dude. This is fucking sick. I'm trying not to get too excited about these two songs being back to back because I think they were both back to back like a few weeks ago too. So very much looking forward to those albums. An album
Yep.
I know you're looking forward to a lot is this new Arm's Length one. We got their new song Funny Face. This is a hell of a way to kick off the new rollout, man. What'd you think about it?
I just saw these dudes a couple weeks ago. They put
You
on a hell
did
of a show.
with
I
Silverstein, right?
Yeah, they opened for Silverstein and Thursday. Good for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, I
Great
love the
for them.
chorus on this one. The vocal inflections are done so well. They deserve every ounce of success that they're about to have. They're on the cusp of something fucking great, and I think that they should continue on until all of the emo kids actually hate them like mom jeans.
Well said. Yeah, I've had Object Permanence like in my rotation for the past 6 months or so, so I'm glad to have a new song of theirs to like kind of throw into things. This is perfect.
Maybe I should say all the emo kids pretend to hate them because they're popular like mom jeans.
Mom Jeans fucking rocks.
Well,
People are stupid.
oh,
Uh,
agreed.
all right, new one from Michael Sarah Palin. A Broken Face is the name of this one. I'm a little bummed it's only a minute and a half, but the fact that we've gotten two new Michael Sarah Palin songs this year is kind of a miracle. So I'm happy. What about you?
Don't you know, John, that emo comes from hardcore and therefore a minute and a half song is almost too long?
Is this your
This
Reddit
is
post about it?
th
Is that what you're
this is
telling people?
this is another Michael Sarah Palin song and another one
Yes.
that I fucking love. This band does not miss ever.
Yeah. This is the band I'm gonna argue I want to hear do more covers. Like their cover of If It Makes You Happy is so good that I want to hear
So
them do
good.
another song. They got to do another one.
That is the best cover of that song I've ever heard him. I might like it more than the original.
I might agree with you. New one from Pup called Hallways. These guys are so dialed in. This is great, obviously. I was listening to the lyrics on this one and I was like, I wonder. And I Google their ages. I was like, this is what being in your mid 30s feels like. All the shit they sing about is mid 30s as fuck. Sure enough, all of them mid to late 30s. So,
Love
right there
that.
with you guys. Thank you for singing the anthems of my life right now. Really appreciate it. What did you think about this one?
I love this band so much, John. Let's go. Hey, 2025 is shaping up to be such a good fucking year
It is.
for music, man. This one solidified it for me. By the time I was taking notes about this song, I was thinking, I was like, oh my God, we have so many like records coming out this year that are
Yeah.
just gonna bang. And I know I kind of do that every year, but when we've got a new Pup album on the way, it just kind of, I don't know, man. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. I still listen to Morbid Stuff and Unraveling of Pup the Band all the fucking time on my turntable. I listen to their self-titled all the fucking
Yeah.
time. In fact, I think I might even have that one up on my wall right now. You know what I mean? Like, let's
Oh,
go.
they are the most wall-worthy rock band right now, arguably. Great shit as always. Very much looking forward to that one with you. We got two new Heart Attack Man songs, Laughing Without Smiling and Spit. Close enough. Welcome back, Sum 41. We missed you. These are great. I'm a big fan. What'd you think about them?
No, no, some 41 retired, John.
No,
They're
no,
they're
they're
done.
back. They're back.
Oh, okay, my mistake. Hey man, this band riffs so hard, man. The passion in the vocals just keeps me coming back. Both of these songs are fucking great. I really, really like this band.
Yeah, I agree, man. Really, really good stuff. New one from Under Oath, All Love Is Gone. Their transition to full-on alt metal has been interesting to witness, but I like the freedom that they seem to be approaching each new song with, even if it doesn't land for me at times. Even though the style of metal they kind of choose has changed over the years, they still sound like Under Oath to me, and I think that's the most important thing. They've also announced a new album out March 28th. I imagine that's going to have like Teeth and Generation No Surrender on it as well. Should be an interesting listen from everything we've heard so far, at the very least. What do you think about this one? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
So there's like a lot of haters out there about their new music. I'm just gonna say it, man. Under Oath is doing shit that really works for them. And honestly, I'm pretty stoked to hear how the whole project unfolds here. This is good. It's very different for them, but it's good. And to your point, you said it still sounds like Under Oath, and that is very, very true. And it's not just because of Spencer and Aaron's signature vocal ranges, but when I saw them last year, I saw them do They're Only Chasing Safety, and then they did kind of like a fan voted greatest hits set afterwards. And they threw in both Teeth and Survivor's Guild, but they played Teeth, and then they played Writing on the Walls, and then they played Survivor's Guild, which are three wildly different songs, and they
Yep.
all worked so well together, even as different as they are. And it kind of like I don't really understand all the hate. Like they've been doing fantastic. They've been making fantastic music for so long. I'm seeing a lot of hate about it online. Basically, that their new shit is sucks and it's unlistenable. Is some things that I've seen, and I'm like, you guys are fucking
I
crazy.
think it's unlistenable to people not listening. I think that it's like you hear the lyrics, like the vodkas and stuff, and you're mistaking it for party metal or like their take on that. And it's not that at all. It's they're still singing about the same stuff they've always sung about. It's just presented a little differently. And people don't like change. So obviously they're gonna fucking hate it, but they're still gonna listen to it at the end of the day. They're just not gonna listen to it close enough to ever catch on that they're wrong. So
Well,
I don't know. That's their choice.
the whole band crushes it on this one. I'm excited for more synthy
Yes.
Under Oath, and let's go. The
Same.
record's gonna be good in what I've heard so far.
I agree, man. New one from Dawn of Aurora Boreas called Slipping Burgundy. Love the slow build on this one. The screams are great. It's a really good song, man. What'd you think about this one?
So I got a Bandcamp notification. Prosthetic Records was releasing this song. I didn't have any idea what this band was about. I had never really heard them, so it really took me by surprise. I was previewing it, and I was like waiting for something to happen, and then the thing happened, and I'm like, oh my God. Yes, this reminds me of the first time somebody the dude who showed me Ginger for the first time, he who must not be named. He showed me Pisces for the first time, and Pisces is very much reminiscent of, well, this rather song is reminiscent of that song Pisces, where you get these soft female vocals, just kind of like laying you on top of a cloud, and then all of a sudden the cloud disappears and you drop into hell, and it's
Yeah.
like exactly what I like in progressive female-led death metal.
Dude, fuck yeah. I mean I love a lot of those same things too. This one I honestly didn't know was like a female fronted thing until like the very end of the song when I saw the little like video thing playing on my phone on the streaming service. But dude, ferocious vocals on it. I was really impressed. Good shit.
Most definitely.
All right, we got this one from Labyrinthus Stellarum. Are those words? The song is called
I don't think
Cosmic
so.
Plague. Never before has a song title more accurately described the sound of the song and the band in general. This is really weird, but I like it, man. What'd you think about it?
It is so strange, isn't it?
Very.
Hey man, this was so weird. I love how weird it is. It is super unique. It's done extremely well, not even attached to a record label, fully independent. I went to Bandcamp to buy a shirt. You can't, they're all sold out.
Good.
Love this. I'm they have a couple albums previous to this, one that they're about to release. I'm assuming they haven't announced it yet, but we're three singles in. They've got three singles for this new project, and yeah, I'm actually very excited to see how much weirder they can get. I previewed the other tracks, which I think I recommend everybody go do. It's fun.
I need to check those out as well, man. We'll definitely be checking that album out when it's announced and dropped for sure. All right, new one. Last single of the week is from To the Grave. Forced Diet Reassignment is the name of this song. Without question, the heaviest song on the playlist this month.
Oh,
Brutal to
100.
no end, both lyrically and musically, and it's less than 2 minutes, so just perfect, man. Really insane though. What do you think about it?
You know, Unique Leader Records has a penchant for releasing this absolutely insane stuff, and it's so late in the year, and we haven't had anything that's quite like this yet. So I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, we're gonna throw some weird shit," and that's what I did.
Well, I appreciate you for throwing some weird shit on, man. Thank you.
as often as I can. I will. I promise.
All right, diving into the EPs, we got the SZA SOS Deluxe Lana Part 2, or just the tracks she talked punch into adding to the deluxe edition. I don't know if any of these songs were worth re-releasing this album again for, but sure, let's make it over 2 hours officially. PSA is easily my favorite of the new tracks we got, but these feel like throwaways to me. Still a great voice though. What'd you think about them?
The Super Weenie Hut Junior Deluxe Ultra Deluxe edition of SOS is fine. It's not great, but it's fine.
I agree, man. New one from Sabrina Carpenter. It's the short and sweet deluxe tracks. I'm just over the short and sweet era. I'm over the shtick. I don't get this whole like Betty
No, no, no,
Boop
you don't
meets a
understand.
toddler and tiara thing. It's just I've liked her music over the years. I'm sure I'll like more of it. This just ain't doing it for me. What don't I understand?
He's both short and sweet.
God damn it, you're right. I
So
didn't think about the sweet part.
it's like wordplay for the very common phrase
Mm-mm.
short and sweet. You wouldn't understand. It's super deep.
I
Look,
don't.
man,
Can you say it again?
I
Explain
have
it
to
to me like
see.
I'm five, Brandon.
So next year you'll
I
be
know what a
6.
surplus is. Thank you.
Uh, I I have to see Sabrina Carpenter on SNL. I have to see her in my news feeds. And now she drops a deluxe, forcing me to listen to her on my podcast. Props to her marketing and PR team, which I'm assuming is paying you, John, for sure.
Yes. I mean, in terms of things I didn't want to cover this week, it was this or the Drake one. I chose this. I don't regret any decisions that I
Hey,
made.
thank you. Thank you for that. I
You're
did
welcome.
listen to it.
You're
We're not
bad.
going to talk about it, but I did listen to the whole thing.
You were one of few according to the first week totals on that one. All right. We got this new one from JISOO. It's called Amortage. This is the only member of Blackpink we have never talked about on the podcast, and that's because she rarely puts out solo stuff. I think maybe she put out like one song, two songs back in like 2020, 2021. This EP was announced with very little lead up, no singles, which was probably intentional for reasons I don't really understand. I think it's decent though. Like a lot of the K-pop EPs we've reviewed, it doesn't really like stretch itself too thin. It's 4 songs, really only one of them that I like. I think Earthquake is the undeniable best song on here. Maybe you'll push back on that. Rest of the EP isn't really my thing, but I think there is a kind of a high ceiling, low floor thing with this. So it's a good listen. I really enjoyed that one song at least. What about you? You're typically a little harder on these than I am.
No, what's funny, John, is I actually enjoyed this one. This is
Hey,
probably Earthquake is probably my favorite solo Blackpink song, like solo artist
member, yeah.
project. Yeah. Uh Blackpink or song from
That's fair.
any, yeah.
It's a really good pop song, man. I think that the success of it is honestly like surprising them because they're so busy promoting this Lisa album and the Jennie album, and they just had the Rose one in December. They're like, yeah, let's just sneak this EP in the middle of these other three releasing full lengths. And I think that, man, that her talent level at least shines through in the small light she was given.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
I'm excited to talk about this next one. It's from another K-pop artist, CHUNG HA. This is called Olivio. She's a name I've seen in the K-pop community for years. I have listened to like a few of her singles, but this is the first full project of hers I've listened to. I feel pretty stupid for waiting because this is like my type of K-pop. It's very heavy on the R&B at times, very solid dance pop at other times. I'm sure as soon as you heard the intro track creep in, you're like, this is why John added this.
Yep.
But yeah, I listen to that song a lot. It's easily my standout. But like some of the more traditional, like just upbeat, dancey K-pop stuff, like Stress, I I I turned the radio up a few notches every time it came on, man. I thought this was really good. We've had kind of a lot of middling K-pop EPs. This one got a little bit above that for me, which I thought was refreshing. What about for you? Did you like this one?
Genre is just a money farmer when we get so many middling and they all do so well.
Hmm.
Uh, so
You're
I
right.
actually read her bio. Chung Ha is from Dallas, is Korean, one of the more
Yes.
popular K-pop artists in Korea, even though she lives in Dallas. Actually reminds me of a funny little parallel here. I figured out. Maceo Plex also is from Dallas. But
Hey.
that dude makes music that Spain eats right up. at every moment. So I thought that was funny. Anyways, I really liked this EP actually. You could probably call this an album, isn't it? 7 or 8 tracks, but look, man, her
You
voice
could.
is good. I think the style of production, like on Loyal is going to be my standout on this one. I really liked a lot of the production choices on this one. I was a fan.
Dude, I'm glad. I was kind of worried you were just going to be like, yeah, like the mini one I really liked. I was like, Brandon's going to enjoy this. And you didn't as much as I thought you would. So I'm glad at least on these two, we've kind of had an upswing this week.
I've been still developing my taste in K-pop. I couldn't
Sure.
define it to you at this moment, but I think the my favorite part of K-pop is when it doesn't sound like American pop, but it's done in American pop style, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. It
No,
probably
no,
doesn't.
that makes perfect sense. And I think that's where the genre is kind of going. It's just still mixed results based on the individual artists and their own kind of unique quirks at this moment.
Yeah.
All right, man. One more EP this week. Talk to me about this one from Arrow, Monoculture.
Out on Planet Rhythm, which just continues to pummel everybody in the world on a weekly basis with some of the best techno out of the Netherlands. This is minimal, but not too minimal. The grooves and percussion really add quite a bit to the atmosphere of the music on all of these tracks. This is prime time, 10 p.m. techno before the closer shit. Like the warehouse,
Yep.
it hasn't quite gotten to that sweat saturation point yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a very good way of putting it. I think to follow your train of thought, it's like it's the song that's playing when you're like getting in and getting your drink and you're like, I want to get on the dance floor, but I'm not drunk enough or confident enough, but this song is really making me want to. It's that type of techno. And I fully agree with you there. I know exactly
Exactly.
what you're talking about.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
just heavy club music, lots of things going on to listen to for how minimal it is. We said it the other week, dude. If you see a techno EP with like brutalist architecture in black and white, it's going to be a banger. I think we also need to include like cranes and shit like that. So this one easily fell into that category for
Yeah,
me.
easy, easy.
Shout
Industrial
out Arrow.
equipment, if you will.
Yeah, man. We got to update our logo to some industrial equipment. Maybe the techno heads will take us seriously, Brandon.
I'm gonna hit up Planet Rhythm, see who their artist is.
Please. All right, man. We got a few albums to talk about this week, starting off with the new one from Jan Blomqvist called Mute. What are your thoughts on it?
So I did we know that this was dropping? I don't think I remembered that this was dropping, but
I don't think so.
I was so excited when I saw this on my release list. It said album next to Jan Blomqvist's name, and I was like, oh my God. This is out on Armada Music. This is some deep progressive house music done in such an incredible way, John. From the intro into Underwater, I knew I was going to be in for a good time. The way the bass lines progress and kind of like morph into light and airy moments while still being like that beefy synth bass is something I've always just loved about Jan's music. Destination Lost is obviously incredible, featuring Rodriguez Jr. I love how he chose the vocalists for this album, top tier, and it worked on every level. Like Bondi being on Stranded really like elevated that track with those like raspy vocals. The 3 track run from Traceless Tracks to So It Is ETC is just incredible, man. It shows off some just such masterful synth production capabilities that just this album grabbed me like most of his singles do, you know what I mean? But this does feel like more of a complete project, which I think a lot of artists like say take a tin liquor, if you will. A lot of artists in this kind of subset of house music really kind of it's more of a collection of tracks rather than it is a full project. And this feels more of a full project than some of those other records do. I was a big fan of this, man. It is probably an 8.5 for me. That three
Ooh,
track run
very high.
of Traceless Tracks to So It Is, etc., is just incredible as a closer, man. Those last 3 tracks just fucking grab me every time and almost like ups my anticipation of every time I put it on.
I had a feeling that that 3 track run to close the album was your shit, man. I enjoyed this album quite a bit as well. I could have enjoyed it a little bit more. I think, as expected from the singles, all of these tracks are full of crisp production, beautiful synth work. It walks the line of making things feel like too rushed or too drawn out really well, and the depth he's able to pack into these 45 minutes is very impressive. I think the weak part of the album for me personally is the lyrics. The vocals themselves are solid. Maybe they get a little like repetitive tonally from song to song at times, but they're always high quality. It's just the lyrics feel like kind of maybe a notch or two above typical EDM cheese, but like I feel like that's very common for the genre. It's not uncommon for the genre, but it's always like something that slightly detracts from the experience of these albums for me the more I listen to them. But man, those critiques are pretty fucking minor and really didn't take away from like my overall enjoyment of all the shit going on in this album that is working, man. It's like a low 7 for me at the least. My standout is it, I'm honestly shocked that your standout is not the Rodriguez Jr. collaboration because that one has to be mine, dude. Him and Rodriguez on the same song, and I know we reviewed it as a single and both kind of glazed it, but man, Destination Lost is a fucking banger. That song is so good. Really the centerpiece of the album for me, but there's a few songs on here that could be argued that are the centerpiece.
I think that both are both Rodriguez Jr. and Jan Blomqvist are pretty highly underrated in the EDM sphere as a whole, and it's probably because their
Oh,
music is so
agree.
like chill. But it is really done so well, man. Destination Lost is a banger, but then you get to Traceless Tracks, and I'm like, oh, he's pulling me in. It's like a tractor beam for me. You know what I mean? So
I can hear the tractor beam in my head now.
right, exactly.
All right, let's talk about this new one from They, Love Jones. I do not man, I don't know how they managed to make a near perfect album every release, but here we are again, dude. It's a little shorter than New Moon was, and I think that's to the benefit of the album. Much like the Amanda tape back in 2020, I feel like they're at their best when they work in this like 10 song, 30-ish minute range. Just no fat. Every song feels intentional and distinct. It feels like we're getting the best of what they worked on since the last project. We heard 3 of these songs as singles. Diamonds and Pearls was one of my most anticipated songs last year and ended up being one of my favorites as well when it came up, living up to my expectations in every way. Straight Up dropped late last year, been in my rotation since, still bangs. Choosing dropped earlier this year and took a while to grow on me, but I feel like because it's really the first real song of the album, it's grown on me a way, or I think of it differently now when I hear it, and I really, really like that one. Of the new songs that we got, though, man, that 2 song run of Rotation and 5 Star is phenomenal. Might be recency bias, but I feel like Rotation is one of like the best songs they've ever made. This is their 4th full-length album in like 8 years, not counting an EP they released, and they have not missed yet, dude. It's getting to the point where I don't think they ever will. This is like an easy 9 for me. I love it. I still miss a lot of the grunge aspects that they used to have in their sound, but I cannot complain about the music that I'm getting. Standouts are Diamonds and Pearls in Rotation, no question. What about you? How'd you feel about this one?
They have a way about them, John. This is top tier R&B, John. There's like no
Yeah.
denying it at this point. They crushed this. They have been killers since they released their first album, I think 2015 or something like
Yep.
that.
Mm-hmm.
uh my God, man, and you showed me them way back then, and I've been a fan ever since. You know what I mean? And this is the exact kind of R&B that I just love. They've got swagger, they've got that sensuality, they have the fantastic blend of both classic and contemporary production. It all comes together. Obviously, Diamonds and Pearls is kind of like a perfect example of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like the trading vocals and the classic bass line makes it sound like it could be released either today or in the late 80s somehow.
Yeah.
Um, but then you get to tracks like Straight Up, and it's clear that this is like a contemporary R&B banger. You know what I mean? I love how the vocals are filtered on like the entire album. Like this is a mistake that I think a lot of both rap and R&B artists make in this day and age. It the filter should come in as like needed for melody and like a change up in the tonality or the pitch. rather than being a constant, which
Yeah.
they does very well on this record for both of their voices.
Hmm.
And they don't need the filters all the time. It because clearly they both have great, great voices. But
Yeah.
man, it's a shame it's only 26 minutes long, but it's so easy to replay, of which I
Yeah.
did many, many, many times this week. This
Same.
is great. I am a big fan. I'm also going to give it a 9. My
Dude,
standout is
yes.
either Straight Up or Gemini. Gemini was really good, man, with that
Gemini
guitar
is really
work.
good. Yeah. Yeah. I love that you have two completely different standouts to me. This album's really, it's 10 tracks. It's really only 9 songs. For us to feel so strongly about four completely different songs speaks a lot to the depth that they packed into this record. I'm just glad you enjoy their music as much as I do, man. I think that they're really special.
Honestly, love it.
All right. We got a new album, kind of, from Hands Like Houses. It's called Atmospherics. This is a tough one to tackle because we talked about a lot of these songs over the past like year or two when they came out as separate EPs, or at least some of them. The last 4 songs on this album are brand new and were also released as another EP, but the listening experience was a little weird for me because of that. Like, I felt like a new album it felt like a new album that I'd already heard, and hearing all
Right.
of the EPs together, at least for me, didn't really enhance any individual parts. In fact, I think I prefer listening to this as 4 separate 4 song EPs. I
Thank
did
you.
them each way, and like it's not high concept in its content, but I feel like the ambition behind this project might have ended up taking away from it a little bit. The quality of everything is good. It sounds good, very polished. The singer hits some of those big notes like he always has. There's a few like big name features on here, Kellen Quinn, Aaron Gillespie, but as of now, there's just like nothing about this album that really like blows me away. And I don't know if that's due to the music or the structure. Like I've always been a fan of these guys since the Ground Dweller Unimagined days, like 2012-ish. And typically like everything they put out even after those eras. But I'm not putting this one past growing on me over time. Maybe my tastes have just changed a bit since I last heard them, but yeah, this one sadly did not do it for me, man. It's like a high 5, light 6 for me. My standout is Heaven. Very curious on your thoughts. Did this one land more for you?
I think you're being too nice. Look, man, this is quite an ambitious release. I really wanted to like this more than I do. In fact, all of the elements of this album is shit that I like, right? Some great
Yeah.
riffs,
Yeah.
good synth work, great production, good lyrical content, but it just seems so rinsed clean, man. It's sterile. You know, you said something to me once, that every band goes into the studio and they want to sound like Papa Roach. I believe you now because like this is like decent music or whatever, but because of like the ultra sterile production, bro, I can barely hear the bass. Can you remember any bass lines from this album?
I can't. I can't.
This
No.
is a post-hardcore record and you can't remember any bass lines. That's wild to
That,
me, right?
that is wild, yes.
And the
Crazy.
drums sound so pulled back in the mix. There's so much blending in the mix, but the vocals are right up front. It's I just I can't bring myself to like fully enjoy this as a giant project. And as ambitious as it was, I just it just isn't memorable, John. There's nothing about it that's memorable. You know, when you think back and you look at post-hardcore records or even like call it whatever alternative rock or emo or whatever, there's something in the way that it's mixed that makes you come back to that record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and that kind of odd production style makes it the post in the post-hardcore, and it brings that kind of emotionality to it. And this is just so stripped clean of any real emotion that it really just doesn't hit for me, man. It's a 4 for me. A better
Sure.
before is probably my standout. That Aaron Gillespie song.
Yeah.
I couldn't bring myself to actually enjoy this as a project. And like you said, it's probably better enjoyed as 3/4 different EPs. I just I'm I was sad that I didn't like it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm with you, and I don't think I was being too nice to it as much as I'm just kind of confused by it and how I'm supposed to digest it. Because I felt like once these last four songs came out, it was like, oh, this is going to be the album they all fit together. But then releasing it as its own EP just makes these feel like four separate projects to me that never really come together in the way that I think that they might have wanted it to. But maybe that's just me and you. Who knows? All right, man. We got a new one from Horsegirl, Phonetics On and On. I really like this album. I know that's not a shock now, but like it's funny to think about when we started doing this podcast a few years ago, and I had almost no tolerance or taste for folky indie rock like this, and now I really fuck with it. This album has like more lyrics than the Mogwai one we talked about recently, but there's a lot of songs on here that just go into like some jam sessions sounding shit with like non-lyrical vocalizations over it. And I find myself humming along to those parts uh, like I do with most of the melodies they create, whether vocally or musically or otherwise. There's just a certain like X factor to their music I enjoy. There's also like a certain weightlessness to this album that I really appreciate. It has lyrical substance and depth when you look into it a little more, but I think on the surface it's just an easy listen. And I feel like we needed an album like that right now. I really don't have much more to say about it beyond that. It's a no skips for me. High seven, maybe even a low eight. My standout is Switch Over. What about you?
Man, I'm really glad that you enjoyed this one. I've never really been quite a gigantic fan of Horse Girl, neither this one nor the DJ Horse Girl, but
Not to be
this is
confused.
there's a decent amount of good stuff on this one. I really like the upbeat tracks on this, like Rock City, Well, I Know You're Shy, and Switch Over, because it kind of feels like that mid 2000s indie with the bass lines and the light riffs, but the slower stuff is where this kind of just isn't for me. Um, I feel like, excuse me, if the vocals were a little bit more passionate on the slower ballady stuff, I think I might enjoy those moments a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. It's a weird album, but keep going.
I liked a little bit more than half of the album. I'm gonna give it a
Sure.
6. Switch Over is also my standout.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's that.
That's just a really fun song, man. Yeah, the album is very hard to ever like get a handle on. I think I enjoy that about it, but yeah, trying to judge it off the minimal thing that it is, especially if it's not exactly your thing, is tough for sure. Glad you enjoyed Switch Over as well. All right, man, we got one more album to talk about this week. It's the new one from Bleeding Through, Nine. What are your thoughts on this one?
All right, so um, let's get real for a second.
Let's get
13-year-old
real.
Brandon, I have a I have a CD player and I take the bus home from school. I listen to a CD player. In my CD player, I have This Is Love, This Is Murderous by Bleeding Through. And I would listen to that pretty much every day when I was 13 on my way home from school. Loved that album. This band will forever be probably one of my favorite of the old school metalcore bands.
Yeah.
This album is cheesy as fuck at times. And quite
Hmm.
honestly, John, I have to tell you, tough guy hardcore blended with black metal synth work and some of Marta's signature vocals on this one is something I think we all needed right now. This
Sure.
is there's a couple tracks that are pretty super cheesy, like Our Brand is Chaos, right? Or even like I Am Resistance. Like those are pretty cheesy tracks. But simultaneously, we get tracks like I don't know, Dead But So Alive, Lost in Isolation, featuring fucking God Forbid. When was the last time you heard God Forbid? Last
Been a
Breath, Path
while.
of Our Disease. Look, man, this band still got it. And when we say a lot of bands are underrated, but I honestly think that the meaning of that word might have been diluted in today's vocabulary. In my opinion, underrated means that the bands have not been rated by enough people, and I think that this band has suffered from that for a long time. Uh, this is great metalcore, and I really enjoyed the majority of this album, aside from maybe two, maybe three tracks. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think my standout, John, is gonna be probably Path of Our Disease. That's a really good one. Wartime is really good as well. Either one of those. I enjoyed this for what it is. It's a bleeding through record, and it's and it's a good one.
Yeah, dude, I agree with you, man. It For the most part, I think that this album rips. Like you said, it could be cheesy as fuck at times. I don't always love the cleans, but I do think that they do a good job of not relying on them too much on this album, and they balance things pretty well when they do. Breakdowns are fucking sick on here, every bit as much as I was hoping for. I know we talked about the track with Comeback Kid when it dropped, but the other collabs, like you talked about, God Forbid and Shadows Fall, are really good too, man. It's pretty lean at 11 tracks, 42 minutes, but they really do make the most of that time. It never feels like they're treading water, like doing anything just for the sake of it. We even get a staple of any good metal album, in my opinion, the 1 minute interlude in the middle of mostly piano.
Oh,
So
you love that.
thumbs up there. It's like closing an emo album with the acoustic song, man. This one is like, yeah, it's a high 6, low 7 for me. My standouts are a toss up between I Am Resistance and Our Brand is Chaos. I love I Am Resistance and the hardcore fusion with Comeback Kid, but something about just like the riffs and the breakdowns in Our Brand is Chaos calls to me, man. Love that one.
It's so tough guy hardcore, bro.
It is.
It's so 2003 Bury Your Dead. You know what I mean? Like it's so good, man.
I fucking love that shit, man. That was a fun one to wrap the week up on. Make sure you all tune in with us next week. We're going to be covering new albums from Anxious, Killswitch Engage, Silverstein, and more. It's going to be a really fun one. You can follow the link in the show notes to keep up with everything we'll be covering on each new episode. You can also find us on Instagram and Reddit. Just search Brandon's Face Pod. We will see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.